Mm. I've only had a few hours sleep. I've been up late last night. I pretty much forgot yesterday. I forgot. Well, I'm still on summertime on the clock, and I'm on winter time on the clock on the computer. But oh dear, my time clock's a little bit out of sync. And anyway, um, so I'm relaxed. What am I thinking? I'm thinking what I was listening to with Glory on the Dolby Atmos pressing, the upmix. And it's not usually that you would hear a left center, right center being used on a movie. Most typical home cinemas, home theaters, I'm saying typical, can only run a free screen. Their AVR is not quite capable of decoding left center, right center, or of you could say, of the classic 70mm 5 screen, or the Sony SDDS 5 screen, or the as and now, when used in some certain selected Dolby Atmos cinemas, a 5 screen. Um, and you need the appropriate decoder. Otherwise, you could still kind of like the sound would still be kind of there, but you just wouldn't know where it's actually playing at. Where it's, is it on the left or right speaker, or is it on it maybe a little bit in the center, or you just wouldn't be able to tell. But what I was listening to, oh gosh, hours ago, um, early this afternoon, I think. It sounded a bit gimmicky. It didn't sound legit, particularly with the music, because it sounded like the music was just taken from the regular channels and they just putting it in the left center, right center, just for adding extra enhancement. But it just didn't seem right. It seemed gimmicky. If it would be like, say, taking certain musical element instruments and then placing those in the left center, right center, it would make sense, because you would subtract some of that bass sound or that musical element instrumentation. I like just saying that word, away from the left and right or the center, and you would put it in the left center, right center. So when it plays as a 5 screen, it's got a more musical flow to the screen channel. Believe me, it does sound stellar. Um, it's a must. It's a must hear. Um, it's better on Gravity, because the way they use the left center, right center, it's mixed, from ground up. It just sounds better. It doesn't have a gimmicky effect. Um, but with Glory, I was just noticing. Occasionally, you get some rain sound effect in there, where in the movie they get a ladder that's saying that the regiment is to be, if they try anyone running off, or away from the regiment, would be caught and hanged and all this. um and it's like, it's pretty grim, and this anyway. They got this rain effect that goes in the left, right, center, as well as on the left and right channel, and in the center channel, of course. But the thing there was the mixing and the timbre matching in the frequency. It's nothing wrong with my system. It's the mix, because I know what to listen for. I know what to look for. I know what to listen for, and I know what to feel for. I know when there's bullshit and there's something that doesn't feel right in a movie, or it's typically the sound system in most typical home theaters, where most just keep following Dolby Labs specification, which is a little bit outdated. It only just added just a tiny little bit to it, but the rest of the whole majority of it is a little bit outdated by decades. Um, you got to think like how you got to design the sound system. In any case, so I was listening to the rain effect and noticing, yeah, the sound of it in the center was a bit more of a sound with the rain. And then on the left center, right center, it's a bit more of a sound. And I think doesn't make sense. And on the left, right, it was a bit more of a similar, but a bit more sounded a bit distant in the frequency response. And I'm thinking, I've never heard rain sounding quite like that, even in the real world. And when you listen to rain and you think you hear rain that sounds above, it's not. It's only because it's landing on surface objects in front of you, many, many tens of meters or so away, many meters away. And it's landing on trees, buildings, you name it. And of course, it's landing on your head and your shoulder, and mostly the majority of it is landing on the ground surface and making that sound. Um, and there's a lot of people in home theaters, they think, but you're just like these dub mixers. You haven't got much of a brain, but that's okay. I'm not insulting people. I'm just saying that you're not very sound educated enough to make an opinion on something that you think it's overhead. You have to be standing underneath a tree with leaves on it, and that makes a certain sound signature. When it's bare with just branches, it makes a different sound. If you stand underneath, if you put an umbrella up, it you got the sound that goes shh, and then you open an umbrella and it's then it's like that sound. And you still hear the majority of it still landing on the ground surface. Our ear and mind is very clever at mapping degree angles, but microphones, they're pretty dumb. They pick up sound, but they can't really tell whether it's up there that way or down that way, unless you're mixing it and to encode it and then put it into a new system. And it's like, wow, it sounds, like I'm outdoors. It sounds like it's raining. You got some of it that's, you got the camera, the filming. You going walking near, coming up to a tree, and you can hear the sound then on the tree. But it's a little bit more than that. You can't just have a few speakers overhead and just have a sound of it, a sound frequency, which would be a very narrow range of the sound mix elements on a, you look at the branches, they're like this, you know, they're like that. And the rainwater is landing on each individual branch, each individual many leaves, and it makes that signature sound. And you listen to it as a whole, but when you record it and then you play it, you're mixing it, it's just got uh it's got elements that are just missing. You can't call Atmos a successful sound format, or even DDSX, or even any of the other formats that are out there, because you got to create something that's going to give a little bit more better approximation. It will never be the real thing at the end of the day. It's impossible. It's impossible. I'll say that again. It's impossible. It can only do an approximation, and that is about as far as it can go. Um, if that hurts or busts your bubble, well, I'm the bringer of bad news. It's a good recording, but as long as it's done well and not done so that it goes like, "Ooh, what's going on there? I heard the soundtrack or someone's. It sounds like the fader level's been suddenly pulled down a little bit too abrupt, and it goes as it says. It's distracting. That's what I was noticing in the Glory with the left center, right center. Sometimes the music element that they were putting into the left center, right center um, sounded okay, and in other scenes, it had this pumping effect, like they're putting it through some filtering, and whatever they're using in DSP or filtering, it's got this pumping effect. And I think, bloody hell, oh god! But if you've got all the channels playing, you wouldn't notice it until you get a little suspicious and curious and skeptical. Then you start monitoring the left center, right center on solo. It depends how I want to monitor it on the Trinnov. If I want to mute the channels or just go solo and monitor the left center, right center, or solo on the center channel and just monitor the center, and or solo for the 5 screen and just monitor that because all the surrounds will be uh, deactivated, and I'll be just monitoring the 5 screen. But as I say, it's very rare. Um, Not all studios are use the left center, right center. Um, but on some of these upmixes, hmm, and it's like people go hunting looking for front wide channels. What the bloody hell is front wide? Does that mean it's really wide? um, because if it's wide, think about it. It's further away from the other speakers. Therefore, it should be a little bit distant sounding. And if it's like that, then in some of these mixes, you're not going to really notice those front wides because the sound frequency, the gain level and the frequency is going to be like this level, and the other channels are going to be this level. Hence, audio frequency masking effect. You wouldn't notice it. Um, but what I notice in the real world sometimes with sound effects of, because there's not music playing outside, it's just sound effects. And I notice the atmosphere sound is completely uniform. It's always uniform. And usually that uniform atmospheric sound that sometimes you hear outside is street traffic vehicles that are probably about, oh gosh, maybe half a mile away on a busy road, and that sound is traveling. It just creates this kind of airy sort of weird sound. By the time that it gets like midnight, that sound goes down and you just don't notice it. You can hear a hint that it's so distant away. It's on a busy dual carriageway or a motorway with, you know, um, and plus sometimes you get wind effect or such. You get wind, and wind is a very complex sort of thing. With that was a good sound effect. Oh yeah. Um, you get another wind is a very complexity to how that effect is done. I mean, you hear it, but can you really feel it on a sound system? and feel it in a way that it doesn't sound exaggerated and it's playing at a stupid 100 plus dB, on very subtle wind that's blowing. And you just, like, say, if I blow on my hand, I feel it. If I do that, I hear it. Put my hand there, I hear it and feel it. So I'm feeling two things, and they come together, thus creating reality. Yep. But when you get it from coming from speakers, yeah, you could put your hand in, you could play it at 80 dB, yeah, which is pretty loud. You could have wind sound effect coming from your bloody speaker, whatever. You could put your hand pretty much in front of the cone. You're not going to feel it. No. You could put, say, maybe like a piece of cardboard and put it in the same distance, or maybe a little bit closer, but not totally close. So it's coupling or connecting with the speaker cone, where, of course, you put your finger on the speaker cone, you feel the movement. But no, even you still wouldn't. You just notice a little vibration, tiny, but it wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't be enough. And you can forget about the port, reflex port on the speaker, because the amount of air that you could feel would be not enough. It would be insufficient, and you'd be just wasting your time turning it up, and then the sound just becomes crap because it's loud, it's distorting, it doesn't sound natural, it breaks all the laws of physics of sound. Yeah, they haven't got quite near to that sort of thing yet, but I'm aware of it. I'm working on it myself, but it's pretty pointless because the way these films are mixed, oh dear, dubbing mixers, they really need to. I think their rule books or whatever, they are a little bit outdated. They need to change things, the specifications, the Dolby Labs layout for speakers and all this nonsense. Some of it is so outdated by decades. It's like the 5 screen, like Atmos for 5 screen. That's nothing new. That technology dates back to the late 1950s. It was Todd AO or such, 70mm 6-track stripe. Oh yeah, another thing with Glory that I noticed is you can notice on the end credits, if you know what to listen for, or you could just hear it sometime on the opening, and depending on what pressing you got, what the go from, because I got it on a Region 2 DVD, which I first got it on, and then I got it on Laserdisc. Actually, I did have it on PAL Laserdisc years ago, but I sold it. So I got 2 NTSC pressings on Laserdisc, first and second edition pressings. DVD Region 2, and then I got a Region 1 DVD pressing, which is lounging around somewhere. I was trying to look for it early this afternoon. It's somewhere around anyway. Then I got the DVD, the Blu-ray pressing, the first edition, and then the 4K pressing, and they re-released Glory again. Oh, I don't know. They just call it Milkry. Glory, yeah, glory, and call it Milkry. Yeah, because it's one of these titles that's it's in the catalogue, and they just milk it like the cash cow. Steelbook. It's not a steelbook. It's a piece of cheap tin that's a recyclable Coca-Cola tin with mostly plastic casing. Really, a steelbook. Yeah, right. Sure it is. It's just another way of gimmicky of selling a product again for gullibles on Blu-ray.com. Yeah, there are a load of gullibles on that site. It's unbelievable. It's staggering, unbelievable. Anyway, each to their own. They just want to buy it just so they can stick it on the shelf and say, hey, look, I got this. Or, oh, my 4K collection's now 402 4K discs. And I've hardly played all of them a second time. They just sit on the shelf, which is true. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, also with Glory, the imaging, it looks a bit hokey as well. It looks a bit gimmicky. It looks a bit well, what's the word? Color manipulation. And if you don't understand that word or even can grasp that word or meaning, then you're just one of these gullibles, that you just think, oh, it looks great. Oh, wow, look at that. But you don't even think for one moment. You're a bit skeptical, like, what's going on here? There was nothing wrong with the DVD pressing. It had brightness in it and all that, blah, blah, blah. All right. So what? It's a SD image. So what? I couldn't really tell whether there's a bloody difference in the high definition or the ultra high definition on the two pressings. Apart from it looked like they're adding some enhancement, and oh yeah, I can see that fake grain effect on the 4K because grain on actual film has a certain signature. It's got a certain signature to it. And the one that I'm seeing on these, on a 65-inch OLED from a distance of about 8 foot away, I really shouldn't be. Should I be really noticing it? Maybe, yeah. But if you've seen Glory televised, so they show a 35mm print, not an interpositive where it doesn't have any Q dots on it, but you see a print version that's got Q dots, which I've seen many years ago. And frankly, the color on it, as far as I can remember, looked pretty damn good. I can't recall if I recorded it when it was playing in Dolby Stereo in NICAM 725, 725 kilobytes per second. That's what they call it, NICAM 725. So it's sampling sound at 725 kilobytes per second, and it sounded pretty damn cool. And the raw sound that you hear sometimes, because it sounded like they're using an optical print, because you can hear the little crackle sound now and then. But when you do it still would be a magnetic soundtrack, but not playing as actual magnetic discrete sound, because all the sound mixing recordings all done in in the sound magnetic domain, not the digital domain, where signal noise ratio would be a little bit different. That's why I got so many pressings of Glory. If I play the DVD just at the start, before you see the TriStar Pegasus, it sounds like the stylus being put down on a vinyl. You hear this, but you don't hear the scratch sound. I can hear the traits of the magnetic going over the playing and going over the magnetic sound heads, and I can hear that. Oh, wow, that quality! But it's got kind of hiss to it, but not like hiss like that. It's got a kind of magnetic sound, noise to it, which is a very low level when you think of it. Noise signal to noise ratio. But if you had a noise reduction on it, you wouldn't hear that noise. You'd hear the soundtrack, and then the frequency bands of the soundtrack would come up and you know, play. But usually when they play, if that without noise reduction, they will still create a masking effect. It's when all the mids and highs and mid frequencies all come down on the end credits of Glory, and you got it's a pretty cool James Horner score. And you hear the drums, kettle drums, go boom, boom. You know, where it's just coming up to the very final part of the on the end credits, and you could hear the magnetic track. And I was just thinking, oh gosh, wouldn't it be cool just if I can just get some Dolby A type or maybe SR Dolby, because Glory was released in Dolby SR, mixed encoded, released in SR. And it'd be cool if I could just use one of those noise reductions just to play with, just to make the soundtrack sound a bit more digital like. As well as giving a little bit of an enhancement to some of the frequency range. And I was just thinking, oh crikey, I just haven't got any rack space. I've got a few Dolby SRA 5s, but a few of them need a minor repair because two of them had a small type resistor or capacitor thing on the back unit of the decoder module burn out, and I've got to replace it. So I've got to put a new component on it. And then it's like, oh crikey, you know, how to rig them up so that I could switch them on and off, you know, so I could turn the SR noise reduction on or turn it off. And where do I put them? Because there's no rack space in my room in the THX cinema. They'd have to go somewhere else, and I'd have to run some interneting cables back into the room with a kind of remote switch, because they got a switch on the decoders, and I would have to do some wiring so it daisy chains into all the decoders, and then have that other wire coming back into the room so I can so it's a free pole. So it's a sort of on, off, and yeah, it's a free switch, I believe. I think it's a free switch, so I'd have to have a toggle switch to switch the things on. Otherwise, I'd have to keep going in and out, which I don't mind. I'd have to go in and out the kitchen and turn them on. It doesn't take that long, but yeah, it's a little bit more than that because I've got to undo the front panel, undo the screws, and then take the security panel off, and then flip the switch into position. Because I think it's auto. I think it's on, off, and I think auto. That's it. I think it's something like that. Because the CP processor has got to have some soldering on it, and that goes to a lead, goes to the units, and then that would just so when you select the format, it should kind of send like a signal, and it just tells the units just to switch on when they're in a certain Dolby format mode number. Oh yeah. I was looking at that. Idea, and then I was looking at the other idea. Because they, I could swap the cards out. I think I can push in A type cards, but I'm not too sure because they're SRA. They call it SRA5, and the A is for A type. So the A type cards would be usually in the cinema processor, and the SR would be on the external module on the outboard in the B chain. Yeah, I was then thinking of Dolby 363s. But flipping out, the prices on those things now are just gone up. Years ago, that you could get them for maybe just about less than 200. Maybe sometimes you might score one or see one for going for 150. But now the prices have gone flipping way up. It's like they've become popular again, or maybe for some recording studios or such, some people might want to use them for noise reduction, mixing, encoding, noise reduction. Yeah, even the flipping cards now, flipping at the cards themselves. Phew, crikey, I could get A-type cards 6 years or so ago for about probably less than £50. And now the prices have gone way up. So I got a bundle of cards myself. Some got a little bit knackered. And if I can know what component to replace on the damn thing, because it's like needle in a haystack. So I've only got so many cards that are working, and some that are need repair. Yeah. But that hiss effect that I notice, and also if you listen to 2001: A Space Odyssey, if you know what to listen for, where the bone monkey throws the bone up and then the bone comes down, and you get silent sound for so many seconds until the music cuts in the track mix. You could hear the magnetic sound. Bit clearer on one version, a little bit less on another version, because there are two soundtrack versions on the 4K, and I don't like that 4K 2001. It sucks because they're cropping off a lot of the rest of the scope or the frame imaging on that. With this big bullshit 70mm look sort of thing, and it's a bit gimmicky because if you watch another version of it, you can see a much wider frame, which will probably look cool with on some setups. There are pressings out there of it, but you got to know what one to grab. It's probably on Laserdisc because they got a few. They say 235 on Laserdisc, and some that are 221. Yeah, what else with Glory last yesterday? Well, yeah. Well, today, actually, yeah. Still today, yeah. I'm looking at the other clock, and I'm thinking it's yesterday. I'm looking at this clock here, and it's still today. I didn't bother playing it in Dolby Atmos yesterday. I just had the Trinov in one of several theater modes. I had it in Dolby Stereo 5-screen mode, which I often maybe create a left center, right center by using DTS Neural X, and that will generate a kind of left center, right center. Dolby DSU doesn't. When I was using the Dolby SDU4s, and I knew I had it, I knew it was connected correctly because it worked with the Storm processor as a backup sort of thing. Because the Storm could do, if I use the was it the D? I think I could use the DSU and the DTS Neural X. But the Trinov, yeah, that's due for some firmware software updates, either December or January. Um, just watching what my cat Melanie's doing. She's a bit spooky. She's a bit spooky. Just because they say a cat is black doesn't mean it's evil, or It's it's just a load of nonsense. But she does, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I didn't bother playing the overhead sounds on the Glory today. I listened to those. I listened to those a few years ago, and it sounded a bit gimmicky. Yeah, and only occasionally the overheads were used on Glory. Pretty useless. It's like these mixers, and they got no clue, and they do not have the director on the stage. They probably send them a print or whatever, a copy, and then they say, give it, listen to this, and then they just bullshit, sign it off by really bullshitting, and not really giving it a thorough listen and thinking, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? What the hell have you done to this movie? You know, they don't seem to notice that. They don't challenge, because if you challenge it, that that means people are aware, and they don't want to hear that sort of nonsense, because Dolby Labs are marketing Atmos as, oh, perfect. But it's not. It's marketing bullshit. I think I think there is very, very few and far between upmix versions that will probably sound maybe legitimate and being done from scratch with attention so that it goes undetected to the most demanding, critical listening ear or mind. But when you just rush it, oh dear, then it's open season for noticing all of the flaws. Melanie, come on, girl. Come on, come on, come on, girl. Oh. Yeah, black cat. It's not a witch's cat. I was gonna dress Melanie up, but yeah. I don't really do Halloween anymore. Anyway, that little bit of coke went down the wrong way. Yeah, so no, I know what to listen for. So I've done sound mixing myself in college, so I thought, oh, is this how it's done? I thought, oh, great. That's really depressing me. Yeah. Yeah. So I rather listen to it. I rather listen, and then I can just spot, what's wrong. Before most people could even notice it themselves. It's like Paramount Pictures. I think they've gone for a little change at the moment with a new CEO. But bloody hell, they can certainly well fucking fix that Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan with the damaged soundtrack, or what the heck they're doing there at Paramount. That's 23 years and they still haven't fixed it. Oh dear. You got a lot of bullshitters around today. I was speaking to one person, and he started to really come on to me like, intimidating, and like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. trying to make out Dolby Atmos is perfect. Yeah, right, sure. Yeah, right, course it is. If I thought that, I wouldn't be bitching and moaning about it. It would have been all thought out on day one before it went into mass production. But yeah, Dolby Labs, what they've done is jump the gun, and now we've got this. They could even modify it, change some of the specification thing layout on it, and modify it, and then it will work with a discrete below surround. So when mixing, oh yeah, but will they be mixing below surround accurately and all the time and keeping it keeping the whole thing active, or is it going to go back to the same bullshit with like, yeah, oh god, blimey, there's only a few sound effects used or music and music is a very subjective sort of thing. How do you do it artistically with instruments moving and not having it in a gimmicky effect with objects? Or you got to keep some sort of flow moving with the instruments, and they got to sort of move. It seemed to, because it's like you can have an object, or it doesn't have to make a sound. I can tap it and move it, and it's literally as I'm doing that, I got to really, because I'm tapping and pausing, tapping and pausing, tapping and pausing whilst moving it. I got to have it continuously, say maybe like with pink noise, a little speaker, and then moving it. It's going to have a movement to it. It's not going to be like a speaker. Oh, makes a bleeping sound, of course, when turning it on. Or rolling it along the wall. It's literally going in 3 dimension, literally every tiny millimeter, literally every tiny fraction of a millimeter. But when you got speakers playing, sounding on walls, there's one there, one over here, one over there. The sound, I call it hot jumping or hot spots. It's just going from one speaker to the next to the next. That's not how sound works. Sound doesn't work that way in the real world. Unless there's certain things doing that sort of thing, then yeah. But generally, you get when you listen to sound, it's on a bus. It's completely uniform. You got mechanical vibration that you can feel, and you can hear this acoustical sound, and it's totally uniform. Doesn't have any gaps or missing things in the sound field. But when you got speakers, you got a lot of missing gaps, because the sound is generating from a cone, from a bass driver, mid-range, tweeter, depending on the mix, how it's engineered and mixed, and how close you are to those speakers. The closer you are to those speakers, they sound like a gimmick. They don't sound like the real thing, or the approximation or so of it. The further away you are, yeah, they sound kind of uniform. But then you get skeptical. Then you get a little bit closer to it, and then you think, nah, you need more speakers, and not just to probably just reproduce the same signal, but the mixing of all this is enormously complex. It's so complex, it'll probably give mixers a headache. Like, how do we mix this? How do we go about doing this? They would be just sat there on the dub stage completely clueless, because they've been given something a little bit bigger for them to handle, and it would just be like, trying to work it out, how to go about to do it. Because you listen to these Atmos mixes today, and they're like, there's still some elements that are missing. Um, I listen and I think, could I put an extra decoder on these speaker channel outputs, and so I can put extra speakers around the room to fill in the gaps, or maybe keep this element of the surround channel signal, because you got the surround channel array, then you got the screen channel array, and keep the surround channel array more active, but not in a way where I would think, oh crikey, what is my cat Melanie doing? What is she doing? What are you doing, Mel? Melanie, what are you doing? She's been doing that for the past few days. Oh, it's coming up to the next day. Oh, actually, it's coming up to, oh gosh, golly, it's November. It's still 31st of October. It's coming up in the moment. Doesn't mean everything changes, which is now November the 1st. It's now November the 1st. 0000 hours Zulu. Yeah, right, okay. So it's today now. No. Yeah. Yesterday was yesterday now, and now it's today. Because I jumped over this, skipped over that, and I went back to the future. um, yeah. I got Air Force One. Air Force One, was it? That's got a left center, right center on it, but I'm a little bit skeptical about that, because if I go back to Glory was released as 70mm format 42, with I think you could use A type or encoded SR spectral recording, so you get more dynamic range and frequency response and more noise reduction. But Air Force One was like SDDS 8 channel of, out of 200 movies that were mixed in SDDS 8 channel, the rest of the 1,000 plus so were just SDDS 6 channel, which I don't really see the logic of that, really, because if they're going to bring out a new format, why didn't they just use the whole lot as SDDS 8 channel? Why just 800? That's like looking at 70mm that only had very few titles ever mixed, released in format 43 with split stereo surround. Only a few handful. All the rest of them were format 42. You think, oh, format 42 is rubbish. No, it's not. It's pretty damn good if you got it set up correctly. Even in the home with proper surround configuration, if you got the surround configuration properly set up in the home, a Dolby Stereo 424 matrix can sound pretty damn awesome. It could ruin a Dolby Atmos mix, and you think, wow, that was Dolby's. Wow. It just depends on, you got to know what to look for, what to listen for, and what to feel for. And plus, you've got to be an ex-projectionist with a few extra special modifications I made myself. She can make 0.5 past light speed. I made a few special modifications myself. Yeah, there's not many home theaters around that have got a proper that can run the proper Dolby stereo configuration, because they got their processors things set up to be this Atmos thing, and then when it's 5.1, they got the surrounds completely set up incorrectly, so it's not going to give the proper signature sound. And chances are the last time they probably heard that in a cinema, I doubt they were listening for it, was probably over 20 years ago. Oh, what are we doing now? Come on. Come on. Go up there with Melanie. Yeah. Yeah, so there's Air Force One's got a bit of that, what's it? And the rest of the Atmos upmixing on Air Force One, yeah, it sounds rubbish. The Jerry Goldsmith score, oh dear, please, it sounds rubbish, because it's like I'm hearing the same music in other speakers around the room, and it doesn't make sense. It's just adding noise rather than having the instruments individually, and then you can play it and mix it. Come on now, Melanie. What are you doing, girl? Oh, Melanie's being a bit awkward at the moment. Cats are not, they want attention. Anyway, Air Force One sounds crap on Dolby Atmos upmix. And I'll take the left center, right center with a pinch of salt, because I don't know if it's legitimate, and they can, if they want to, just take the SDDS, or not. The SDDS is a sound delivery. It's a mixing, encoding, sound delivery. That's all it is, just like everything else. They could take the 8-channel mix and encode it into Atmos channel sort of thing, but leave out the overhead. So it just uses the left center, right center in the surround configuration. No back surround mixing, just leave it as the original. And then that would play only in selected home theaters, home cinemas that have got the appropriate processor, because all the other processors can't do it. You can do it matrix version, and you might get some similarity from the discrete version, but when you listen to the actual discrete version, it's a total different ball game. Yeah, I'll take that Atmos one with a pinch of salt. Gravity, well, that's different. Again, that's different. And Top Gun Maverick is overrated crap in Atmos. It doesn't use the left center, right center very effectively. It's pretty much the thumbs down. Oh, yeah. See, everyone with their home theater, they think they you watch these overrated YouTube channels, Shane Lee, the Hate Ridge, Cowboy, and all these other goofs. They don't know what they're listening for. They don't know how to. They just keep blabbering on about nuances. What the bloody hell are they talking about? Yeah. If I had to do oh crikey, if I had to go through all the titles again, these Atmos titles again, and give them a thorough listening through on do they sound gimmicky in the mixing, like they're just trying to sell an old movie, or do they sound legitimately mixed from ground up? Because realistically, they're not going to spend millions of dollars to do it from scratch. Otherwise, where's the proof? Where's the if there's no video documentary on it, then it never happened. But they just take these films. They got bigger projects that are on their big, large dub stage, and they're not going to take something from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, put it on a big, large dub stage and spend millions of dollars on it, doing it from scratch. And they're going to spend many months mixing, figuring out how to do it, and create something that's going to be like, that should last, oh, until Dolby Atmos itself is phased out, so to speak, or the disc format thing itself, or whatever changes, which would be I would imagine be soon, because the way things are going, it's sad. It's sadism. Studio greedy sadism. There's another thing with Glory. Yeah, another thing with Glory. The way some of the sound mixing with the whether it's Melanie, can you come? Oh, wrangle my cat. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. What are you up to? You don't meow much, do you? Yeah, you don't meow much. Come, Mel. Come, Mel. Mel. Come, girl. Come, Mel. Oh. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah. Forgot what I was talking. Forgot what I was rambling and ranting about. See, Melanie, she wants to get in on the piece of the action. Yeah, it's just got to listen to these mixes. Listen, does because I could spot a fake in probably usually less than 1 minute. That was a good sound effect. Yeah, original taste. The original taste. Yeah. Yeah, just spotting these fakes. Yeah, what else on Glory? Okay, what else on Glory? It's very weird occasionally. Sometimes I hear music in the left centre, right centre, right? I was thinking I was going to hear it at the opening of the movie, but no. Go a little bit more into it and then into the first battle. And it's just a few little sound effects there, but I know where those sound effects are coming from. I know what they're probably doing. They're manipulating the mix, putting it through a filter, and just creating a gimmicky effect, which is pretty sadism, really, of Sony Pictures. And shame on them. Shame on the individual mixer or mixers that were involved in that bullshit. Shame on them. If I only knew their name, I could shame them even more. And yeah, they'll probably then shy away from all this bullshit of luxury and go and stack shelves in a bloody shop because they don't deserve to be on a mixing console. Because that was what I was listening to was just travesty. It was terrible. It was just a gimmick effect. You know, you don't even hear the end credits for the music on the left center, right center. You get a little bit of it before the last battle in the movie, and then it fades out. But it's like I say, it just sounds like it's come from the CD album. It hasn't got no individuality in the instruments, which is pretty sad in mixing terms. Because today, I think some mixers today have become these music mixers or whatever. You know, you got this techno dad on YouTube blabbing about bloody his music mixes and all. And yeah, I'm not even interested in listening to that hip hop, techno, or whatever the bloody hell that music's called. I'm not interested in listening because I can listen to a score mix and I can break down the elements of the sound in my head and thinking, yeah, if you take that instrumentation that's playing there and then move it so it can flow and move out away, so it comes out from the other track, so it comes away, subtracts, moves away, and then flows. But if to get this flow sort of thing, because as this is moving across the screen, flowing, it doesn't work that way. Sound just doesn't work that way in artificial fabrication. Melanie, Melanie, come on, come on, girl, go up there. Come on, girl. Come on, come on, up there. Oh. Oh gosh. Melanie, come on, go up there.
Oh, go up there, girl, because you won't be in mischief. I know what you're thinking, girl.
Oh. See, I could think. I know my cat. I know how she's thinking and what she's trying to do. Very, very subtle. Very subtle. She's very active. She won't mellow until next late next year, and she'll mellow down a little bit. But oh yeah, she doesn't meow much. She's a very quiet girl. Occasionally meow, but not very often. Bear, oh, he meows. He meows. I don't think Melanie's going to be a large cat. I think a few more months or such, and I think she'll stop growing. So she'll be a bit smaller than Bear. My largest cat was Sooty. It was pretty large. Not Maine Coon large, but pretty large enough for a British long fur Bombay. Melanie's short fur. She's Bombay, but she's short fur. Yeah, and Barry's snowshoe, long fur. Yeah, it really is disappointing. I could rant on about this subject because I'm just going through all the other. Yeah, I'm trying to look at the other crappy bullshit, immersive bullshit mixes, old movies, and everyone's like, oh, ooh, ah. You know, they just look at the image, right? Blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, okay. I can look at the image also. I'm also looking at the image and sound and what's going on, the continuity, and yeah, yada yada yada. You know, people do the A, B, C, D, E comparisons of the thing. Look at that snow on the mountains. Look at the you know. Don't forget, at the end of the day, it's video. Okay, it's which one's got the better transfer, which one's more mirroring the 35mm, even though they are 35, but they go through this video manipulation, you know. Oh, the engineer turns down the contrast ratio, or he turns it up, and it makes the snow on those mountains look crap. Because white, you know, contrast does your whites, and then it fudges up the details with what originally is filmed in photography. I don't, you know, it's really depressing. You know, I lost 2 cats, and I'm talking about color and film. You know, it really does piss me off. Most people don't give a shit. They just talk about it like film is their fucking life. Film isn't. It's immaterial. It's nothing. You know, this here now what I'm doing. Nothing. All this is immaterial to me.
Melanie. Oh, what are you up to, girl? What are you up to, sweetie girl? Oh, I'll tell you what, Melanie. I'll tell you what, my nose is a bit stuffy now. Oh. Oh, that's better. Got that out. That was easy. Oh, 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 flipping that. The size of that. It's like that bloody creature in Star Trek. Bloody hell. Look at that. Bloody hell. Oh. Oh. It's amazing how much of this. Oh. Oh, boy. You know, when you got pressure with mucus, oh, for crying out, in your nose, it interferes with your breathing and respiration sometimes. Um, oh. Oh dear, because your breathe weight, you know, it's got to be, you know, a-okay. It's like having a crappy Dolby Atmos. And you think, what's going on in this sound mix? It doesn't seem to flow with the sound doesn't seem to flow correctly. It sounds and seems like a nose passage that's blocked up with mucus. And it's like, what the fuck have they done to this? What is the fuckery with the mixing here? You know, there was that speaker array within Chinese theatre. I forgot what it was called now. It's a speaker array that came around in the early 2000s. Melanie, I'm not sure how that thing actually worked or how it actually sounded because I've not had it experience. I've got a pretty good idea. But the layout of it in the auditorium seemed a bit, well, it's on display in one of those Chinese. It probably don't have it in that Chinese small theatre anymore. Not the main large one, but one of the smaller Chinese cinema screens. And you could just see this array going along at the bottom part of the auditorium, and then it goes upward towards the back, and then goes along the back wall. And looking at it, it looks a bit gimmicky because you can see the whole thing on display rather than they put curtain or fabric to hide it. So you're left there wondering what's going on. But when you can see it and you think, and then you start Googling it when you get home on the computer to find out what the heck it was. Because the best sound is probably left hidden to leave you guessing. But to anyone now, you know, they'll think, oh, well, there's some speaker thing, obviously. Some DSP technology may be involved with it, you know. But, go back decades. to when people probably wouldn't be thinking as much, and they're just left there sort of wondering, like, how the heck did they do that? Um, a lot of patience and same, so you either got a few people all doing the same thing, trained, rehearsing, so that they all probably think the same way similarly, so that they can work the problem and all this. um Unless then someone else comes along and knows or understands what they're doing with it, and then says, well, if you put something like this, and then they start thinking, oh yeah, why didn't we think of it? It's always something sometimes that alludes, and you'd think you'd like to have tried that as well, because once you got it all up and running, and you think, crikey, is it possible that we could put this other technique idea into what is now present? Yeah. Because with how sound works in like the real world, like I say, it's trying to mirror that sort of thing, but you can only do an approximation of it. It's impossible to do the actual real thing itself. Impossible. Which kind of frustrates me. It really frustrates me. I could try, but then it's going to look intimidating. It's not going to be like, if a fly is buzzing around or something, comes this close, or a little mosquito, and it comes, notice a little going past, and you can't do this, don't you? Effect, don't you? Because something's come very close and it seems intrusify. You do that, don't you? Don't tell me you don't, because you do. And when it's a little bit more distant out further, because you probably won't notice it because of the depending on the dynamic range and the frequency, etc. I tell you, there was another thing I was thinking about Trinov. Probably I've got to think out how to type the email. I've got to think how to type it out, so it makes sense. I could probably do it in a video chat if I could talk to an engineer or such, and they'll probably grasp the idea. I think the Trinov needs a little bit more to it, because if they say it's the most sophisticated processor, blah blah blah, on the planet, then it needs just a little bit more on it to make it that extra, a little bit more sophisticated, and keep it sophisticated. Otherwise, the other competition are thinking, what if we try this, try that, and then they do something, and then Trinov's thinking, why didn't we do that? Well, can we do that? We won't get into problems, will we? Because will we? I think they should have a frequency RTA analyzer that monitors the channel input signals versus the output signals in frequency response, so you can see it on the screen, so you can see the left, the center, so you can see the 5 screen, or maybe the 5 or the 7 screen, so you can see what's going on in the mixing or whatever in the frequency response domain, because that's what matters, because the gain level only shows you a little bit. You can see that the gain levels are a little bit high sometimes. Like on Glory, I had to turn
the gain levels down on the left, center, right down by about minus 15 dB because they looked a little bit too high versus the left center, right centers, which were down here. And I had to bring the levels down until they're just about more or less doing that sometimes on loud sounds and such, or whatever's going on. But like I say, it's gimmicky on Dolby Atmos. It's a bit gimmicky. Still can't get over that annoying fake grain effect they use on the image. Shame on them. And I'm looking so hard for scratch marks or blemishes on the because you can see that on the DVD. Maybe I think a little bit on the Blu-ray. But it's interesting again, this magnetic sound where it gets down into the end of the end credits, where where's that video that I did yesterday? Yeah, I think I posted it in the description thing, but I'll just post it there again. I could have added a lot more to that video. I could have added a lot more to that video, but then it would have just got a bit too long. Not that I mind, because I had to pause. I do the editing in the video while pause it, unpausing and pausing and pausing and resume and pause and resume. Otherwise, I don't fancy putting videos onto uploading the video onto the computer, and then I put it through the video editor and then trim the video a little bit, cut little things out and all this. I'm not into that because that's just bullshitting for these stupid content videos. Content. Did it what? Content video? Content? Yeah, it's just bullshitting. I'm not into that. Shane Lee, YouTube, Audioholics and Hate Cowboy and all of the Late Guy and all these other channels that I see on YouTube where suddenly you see the camera's there and then it goes in a bit and then it goes there and it goes there, or you see these close-ups and then it pulls away. You got this other guy on YouTube that I can't even stand. And he's got a stupid close-up and then it's all blurred and then the camera pulls away and it's like, oh, hey, what's going on YouTube? What? I don't do any of that shit on because I know it's bullshit. I don't say like or subscribe or dislike. I couldn't care less if you all dislike. Doesn't bother me. It's no skin off my nose. Because I'll do the same. Yeah, I dislike quite a lot of videos, and for logical reasons of when there's bullshit and there's no honesty, there's no transparency, and it's just complete but utter bullshit. Some of these YouTubers, I can tell most of these YouTubers voted for Donald Trump. I can tell they're Trump voters, supporters. But then most, today now, bloody hell, they're probably regretting it. And unsubscribe to Trump. I regret it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I voted for that prick. What was his name? Tony Blair. And I absolutely regretted it. I didn't vote for Gulf War Part Number 2. I didn't vote for that Prime Minister for that reason. I thought he was honest and all this, but they are all the same bullshitters, these politicians. And I thought, no, never again will I ever vote for a politician again. I don't vote for warmongery, stealing, pillaging, and all that. I don't vote for that sort of shit. Anyway, this is the same with, like, say, Dolby Atmos. Am I a fan of it? No. Am I a fan of Dolby Atmos? Am I a fan of Dolby Labs? No, no fucking way. Not since when they stabbed me in the back in 1998. Am I a fucking fan of them? No fucking way. I give Dolby Labs and all their new videos the fucking thumbs down. Couldn't give a fuck about them. They stabbed me in the back in 1998. They took my idea, stole it from me, didn't give me any credit for the idea, or no. I just got crapped on. So I'll do the same in return. Fuck Dolby Labs. Why do I fucking use this shit? I don't know. You ask around. Many years ago, people say, oh, Dolby Labs, this blah, 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 crap. There's other sound things that you could use in, that are better than, but they just want to monopolize the market. But it's not the first time or even the last or second, last time that Dolby Laboratories have done some backstabbing. They're pretty notorious for doing some of that. And they got this clever little bloody lawsuit thing or whatever in place so they can get away with the fucking thing. God, fucking hell, they're worse than politicians. Because when you think of it, the audio industry is like politics. It is like politics. All this, like, DTS fanboys, when DTS came along and it's Jurassic, it's Spielberg, it's fucking T-Rex coming up your arsehole. Fucking hell. What a load of nonsense. And then you get these fanboys, like, they like DTS. Suddenly, they don't like Dolby. They don't like Star Wars anymore. Yeah, just because it's a technique of just not really like records, 78 RPM Vitaphone and synchronizing, or because you go into later days with 70 millimeter or film, where you have film, literally on film, and then you got the soundtrack separate on a machine and you just synchronize it. It's the same thing as DTS. You just time code and then synchronizing it. That's all. Not a big deal. Still, some people like to play around, and there's one guy on YouTube that's done a video recently just by synchronizing a projector with a DVD sound source and just synchronizing it. That's all. It's not a big deal. You just got to make sure it's synchronized. Otherwise, when you play it, or I'm not sure what happens when you get a layer change in the DVD and then you still got the film running, because you got about 1 second or so or such in the layer change, because the disc pauses and then resumes. With it, Blu-ray, HDVD, 4K, whatever, it just plays continuous. It doesn't have layer change. Well, does it have a layer change? But it goes undetected? I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember. And frankly, my dear, I don't really care.
just make sure that it's synchronized, otherwise if it's out, boom, then you got to like, oh dear, how the bloody hell you synchro. But with the DTS thing, I think it's got a little bit of few little wrinkles added to it so if there was some film frame that was damaged and had to be cut out of the film print, the time code on the that's being read by the reader, and then it plugs into the time coder onto the processor, and then the outputs from the processor go into a Dolby Cinema processor, because the DTS thing doesn't have a fader on it, so it outputs and plugs into a CP processor. I think it can catch up. It does some trick thing where it can literally catch up and it goes undetected, I think. Kind of like when Dolby SRD prints have print damage. And if you're listening carefully, depending on what's going on, you can hear the soundtrack going from digital to Dolby SR, but the sound levels on the analog, they got to match. They got to balance the levels, the output levels, so that they're almost within tiny tolerance. But usually, depending on how the mix is done in discrete versus how it is in matrix, depending on what sound is playing. I'll give an example. LA Confidential that played years ago down local. It had print damage, and it was a rain sound effect in the scene, and I can hear the rain kind of going. I could hear it doing that. There was quite a bit of print damage on the that lasted probably a couple of minutes. But I could hear it switching, and it was. I was thinking, wow, that's the first time I've heard it switching, and it's very fast. You don't hear any mute in the sound. It's just switching very fast, literally. I could do that once on my Sony SDDS, where I had the digital track playing on one of the auxiliary inputs, and then I had the analog, or the left total right for Dolby Stereo, left total, right total, Dolby Stereo Matrix, on one of the other auxiliary channels. And when switching between the two, I couldn't even tell the difference, apart from if there's slight differences in the channel encoding mix layout. Yeah, but really, I had all the levels just within a tight tolerance of dB. So yeah. I can't do that now because the processors are set differently. That was pretty neat. That was, but to me, it's just immaterial. I look back on it, it's just immaterial. When you look at if you look at Trinovs, or can they switch from digital to analog instantaneously? No, they can't. You're going to get a sound delay, because between when you switch from digital over to an analog on the processor, it's not instant fast. There's going to be a slight, because it's got to do the switching, and then it goes over to analog, and then so it's not that cool. It's not that sophisticated enough. Maybe I can mention that, and maybe Trinov can work on that problem. But it's nothing to do with the problem with this other guy on YouTube, late night Piper bloody Williams guy,
ranting on about Trinovs and all these other people that AVS forum rant on about, oh, it's got 20-second delay. Yeah, because they're using a crappy kaleidoscope in their home theater, and it's an issue with the kaleidoscope, not the Trinov. Otherwise, I've not noticed too much of a problem. I thought I was fearing, like, oh crikey, everyone's talking about this delay. But once I tried DVDs on it, and and Laserdisc, and whatever else, no, doesn't have any delay issue. I think everyone's imagining it with their crappy kaleidoscope because their ego, they think, oh, I got all these movies, but you don't own them. You only own it when you got it on VHS, DVD, or let me just rephrase that. You own it on VHS, you own it on disc format, because that disc format could be any format. Laserdisc, DVD, UHD, doesn't matter which, it's optical laser disc format as far as I'm concerned. Or it could be on an SD card, some sort of SD card sort of thing, some Fire Stick card or whatever, because then that's basically, it's no moving parts. It just plugs in and it's just, the data is just read. It's no moving parts. But on all the other formats, they're moving parts. VHS, disc formats, they're moving parts. And you can still get issues with the other things as well. But no, kaleidoscopes are the issues with the kaleidoscope. So it's not that great. It's not. It's something to avoid. Treat it like a laser rot. Because some laser rot discs, yeah, sometimes they'll play, and sometimes they won't. HDVD, forget about it. Warner Brothers, yeah, avoid. And some other HDVD, basically avoid HDVD, because frankly, I think it's a technical issue that might be industrial sabotage. That's a good conspiracy, actually. It could be industrial sabotage. To put the other competition out of business. Because the Blu-ray, they say, oh, the Blu-ray, it's got more disk storage. The UHD, the HDVD, what was it, 25 gig? And the 4K and the Blu-ray, was it 50 gig? And the UHD, what's that? A little bit more than 50? I'll go back to Glory again. I don't like the new Sony, what they do with the menu layout, where you got to go into the menu and then you got to scroll through these pages. It's slow and tacky. It's like fucking going backwards, rather than bringing up the menu up on the screen and then you can scroll across and then press that next chapter. Oh yeah, plus the chapters on Glory are only about 16 chapters versus the DVD, which has got about 28 chapters. So they watered down the chapters, this watering it down. I'm not sure if the Laserdisc has got the same amount of chapters or less or more. I can't remember. I think some of the Laserdiscs have got, or some of the Laserdiscs got chapters on it, and some of them don't. One of the pressings does, and one of them don't. I can't remember. Oh yeah, and the end credits that end on side 3 of one of the Laserdiscs, and I think that's weird, and the other pressing is just 2 disc. No, one, is it 2 disc or 1 disc?
Can't remember. I know the end credits and all that. I think it's 2 discs. Yeah, I think no, it's 1 disc. So you got side 1 and then side 2, and then the end credits end on the other one that's got side 3. It's got the documentary on the end of the end credits, but it's on. I don't know why they did that fuckery with the bloody, because it's a bit distracting. I like to get a Coke. I mean, I probably want to put it in the freezer. Put it in the freezer for about maybe 20, 30 minutes. Got to be very careful, of course, when putting it in the freezer, because not to shake it and then open it, otherwise it'll just go everywhere, make a horrendous mess. But it kind of freezes or makes it kind of basically like a slush puppy. A slush puppy, poor thing, poor creature. They take the dog and they slushed it on the road. Oh no, that's cruel. That's vicious. That's mean. Yeah, it makes it basically icy. Yeah, it gives it an extra chill. Brings it extra chill. Oh yeah, I'll probably finish my extra fish and chips later, because I had a little doggy bag. I couldn't eat my fish and chips last night. I went out with a friend, and I got so, because I've been up for so many hours, I'm doing it again. Oh, fuck's sake! I got this in. I had a few hours sleep tonight. Well, last night. I think from probably 6 o'clock. Or maybe was it 5 o'clock or something like just before 6 o'clock, I think. I think I only had about 7, 8. I think I only had about 3 hours sleep. That's not enough. But I'm relaxed. I'm not moving around. But I should really shut myself off and get some sleep. I need 8 hours at least. Yeah, and I just couldn't eat my meal. Yes, I couldn't eat. I got so stuffed because I thought, I can't do any more. I don't do that with fish and chips. I usually finish but I think it was the curry sauce that was overwhelming me. I like the curry sauce. It gives a nice extra boost to the but not everyone likes it. My friend was thinking he would have probably wanted mushy peas. He almost finished his plate, but he left just a little bit on his plate. But I thought, no, I only had a little bit of fish left, a little battered sausage, and just a few chips. I could put that in the microwave and for about 1 minute and heat it up, and then just finish my fish and chips. Waste not, want not. Unless I want to throw it out for the foxes. I don't think Steven Seagal's going to be around. I gave Steven Seagal some bread yesterday, but I'm not sure if he and his buddies have come down, and because they're all like Steven Seagal clones. They all look the same. Steven Seagal. There he is up there. There he is, Steven Seagal. He's up there on the shelf. Hey, Steven!
Um, yeah, yeah. I might do another think about it because it's always trying to find an excuse to do another bloody video. Um, it's like that crappy what do you call it? Even though it's got individual music moving around in the overhead speakers, that crappy Man of Steel with that god awful Hans Zimmer music. Because it's you listen to that music at the end of the movie where it's playing, dun, 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 all the bass and all that. Bloody hell! But you listen to the overheads, and if you listen to the overheads, if you've got a proper system, Atmos system, you listen to the overheads carefully. It sounds like the it sounds like the Beach Boys. Everybody surfing, everybody doing it now. It sounds like Hawaiian music playing overhead. Terrible, terrible, bloody Hans Zimmer music. Superman, Man of Steel, Man of Hawaiian, Man of Hula. Bloody awful music. Oh dear, that's why Hans Zimmer ain't got shit on John Williams' Superman the movie score. Hans Zimmer can't do a Superman score music to save his life. Oh dear. Yeah, maybe that music would have been okay in another movie, but not this. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's got individual and it's got a little bit of left center, right center in it, I think. But it's not very effective. It's not very effective. Um, and when you think of the layout of on a dub stage or the layout on a cinema, right? The way the left, right, center are laid out, typical, yeah, in in most, yeah, and the seating distance away from the screen, because you look at where the seating, the front row, and how many meters to the screen, and then you got to go up slightly diagonal to where the speakers are located in the middle behind the screen. So there's the middle here, and then you got the diagonal coming down, down to the first front row seating, and then you go back a bit further. The seating goes upward for a reason, for several reasons. So you got sight line to the screen, but also the base level doesn't get boomy. I was going to do this in a separate video because this guy, the second-hand guy, home theater, he's going to build himself a riser, but he's got plenty of unique opportunity if he builds it. He could put a below surround into the floor, yeah, because it'd be a wooden floor and such. He's got a unique opportunity. If he pisses it away, then there's no turning back. Because once it's done, otherwise if you have to redo it and then you got to figure out where to cut the holes and put the speakers in, and then you got to do it as an array. You can't just put a few speakers there; it just wouldn't work. It'll work, but it just won't give a uniform sound. You got to get a uniform sound because that's how the real thing works in the real world. You get this uniform sound, and yeah, most people. I look at everyone's home theater, millionaires, Shane Lee, Gene DeSeller's audio holic, smart Well, it's not really that smart now, is it? If it was smart, then it would have something similar to what I'm running. Yeah, of course he would. Um, yeah, but each to their own. Yeah, okay. I'll do it my way. Yeah, right. Each of their own to do it. I'll do it my way. That's why you look at all cinemas, dub stages, etc. They're all more or less doing it similar. They're following this specification, Dolby code, SEMT, CES, AES, whatever codes, practices, blah 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 blah. Black sheep. Have you any wool? I'll do it my way. And there's no originality. There's no creative thinking in doing these cinema layouts and home theaters and that. And they're all the same. All your home theaters are all the same. They're boring. I'll be bored stiff listening to your home theater. Can it do this? Can it do that? How many sound formats can it do? Um, uh, it's got DDS. No, no, no. How many Dolby format sound codes can it do? Um, it's got Atmos. Oh, for God's sakes. You know, my Atmos in my room can do a little bit more than most other people's home theatres. If you come round to my home seat, THX, you would leave and go back to your home cinema feeling ruined. I think that's what someone was saying about George Lucas's THX Stag Theatre. If you hear the THX sound system in that screening room, you would go home feeling ruined. So what? Someone's pumping up the bass, pumping up. What the bloody hell? What, they got a bloody bicycle pump connected to their bloody sub bass speaker and they're pumping it? The bloody hell? What? Speak English. You mean you're turning the gain levels up? I could turn the gain levels up on my subs to exponentially ridiculous level, but then the voltage level going into the amplifier will then just create distortion. Huh? What's the point of that? You only knacker your amplifiers, and then you could knacker your amplifiers, and then it probably put out a dodgy signal to your speaker drivers, and then bam, there goes your speaker driver. And you got to buy a new amplifier, a new speaker driver, play stupid games, and you win a stupid prize. Plus it creates masking effect. You add too much, and you've got to observe the frequency response. That's why that guy with his 20 sub bass speakers in his basement, I bet that room rattles and buzzes like nobody's business. Well, that's his affair. If he wants to create a distortion sound experience, that's his affair. I don't frankly want to, have that noise in my room and then thinking, bloody hell, that's not even part of the soundtrack. But when you listen to real things in the real world, like a bus that's vibrating, or there's fixings in the bus and they're vibrating and rattling, or when the bus becomes idle and the engine's humming at 35, 36 hertz frequency at about a 90 to about 100 dB, depending on the way it's oscillating. Oh god, you want to watch my channel more because Youth Man, he's boring. Shane Lee, he's boring, and all the other most YouTubers, they're just boring. I don't talk about. I always talk and ramble mostly about the same thing because I'm trying to get people to reach and listen and get you to think more like human, not robots. Everyone else with their home theater are like robots. I am a robot. I am a robot. Unbelievable. Never known anything like it in all my decades. Oh dear, I'll be glad when I die because I'll be released from all this nonsense. Because it's only a dream. That's all it is. It's just a fabricated dream. I think, would my soul, or does our soul, go to a higher plane of, does it leave this earth? Does it leave the boundaries of this planet and endlessly travel the universe? Or does it endlessly travel the earth invisibly? I don't know. That's one of life's biggest mysteries. And since I've got heart issues and I've come pretty close to, it many times, I think, I think today that's it. It's toast. I thought I was going to be toast. Is it still this week? What day is it? Yeah, still this week, isn't it? I thought I was going to be toast this week. I've had palpitations and I thought this is it. I thought I'm going to be toast. And my stomach wasn't feeling okay. And I think it was probably what I was eating and drinking. If this were 10, 15 years ago, no, because it's about 10 years ago since I had my mini small little heart attack. And it was only small, tiny, in comparison to most other people that smoke, drink, which would be like that. And they'll be in a much far worse situation. Very, very bad. Thumbs down. But mine was only tiny. And I'll tell you, that's just that tiny little bit was more than enough to make my legs feel almost incapacitated. Where thinking, what's wrong with my legs? You're a baby. You're crawling along the floor before you can stand up and start walking. And then that takes learning and practice and counterbalancing and so forth until you master the technique. But when you get hit by a mini heart attack, that just brings you down to your knees. And I was thinking, well, I'm in hospital. I'll get out of bed now because I've been laying on this bed for about 24 hours. And then I didn't have any strength in my legs to stand up. I just went collapsed to the floor and crawling along the floor on my hands and knees like a baby. And then, it took about 2 weeks until I could walk and get a normal walking pace again. 2 weeks. And now I get this bloody affiliation issue. And my walking pace is sometimes slow. Sometimes I might have a normal walking pace, but it's not long. It doesn't last. It suddenly just goes right back into my blood circulation, and I just don't have the energy. And there's no point trying to prove it or push it, because if I do that, I overexert myself and I could risk collapsing or blacking out. Yeah. Anyway, that's like having a DVD or a disc or format and it blacks out and you think, what's going on? Something to do with the components, and the components in me are like, Mm. It's like bending my wrists. They feel a little bit different-ish now compared to a few weeks ago where they, but this one here, you see the hand shaking. This hasn't stopped. This just, I mean, it probably still shakes when I'm sleeping, but I just don't notice it. I only notice it when I put it out, like so, or like this. I can see it shaking. Um, yeah, I can see it shaking there, and also it's like my adrenaline. Usually, when you see hands shaking and so this is pretty still. So I know my heart's on my left side, and it's got something to do with that. It's got some connection to do with that. But I think that's before. I think that's not anything to do with my fibrillation because I watched videos going back several years before my fibrillation, and I noticed my hand in one of the videos and or such was shaking, and I thought, all right, because I was getting paranoid, thinking it's got something to do with that COVID injection that they stuck in your arm because I think I had it stuck in my left arm. But that was 2021, I think. They did those injection things. Um, it's amazing how quick and fast they came out with that, isn't it? Mm. Um, so it's probably something to do with my mini heart attack when I first had one, which was probably 10 years ago. And I got video that might go back maybe further than that. Maybe, and whether I could find a video, whether I'm holding a camera or I don't think I'm at any of these mobile phones because I didn't have any of those fancy mobile phones over 10 years or so ago. Maybe if I'm holding a video camera or whatever, some sort of thing, if I happen to be holding it in my left hand, and if the camera's shaking, then I could probably think, oh, this thing was going on even before. So what the heck's going on? I've not even had an explanation from MDs, medical doctors. I've not had an explanation as to why, because I can't Google it because I'll probably get the wrong answers. I can't even use that AI rubbish, which I don't think I want to use. I don't like AI. It's a load of rubbish. Um, I think AI needs to be put kaput. It needs to be hammered, smashed up, thrown into the bin. It's not going to benefit our way of life in social society or even for the animal marine life sort of thing. It's not going to have any benefits for it. It's just a piece of electronics, an immaterial piece of electronics at the end of the day that requires electricity. And if you smash down the electricity, then the AI doesn't work because it requires, and it's not going to be Terminator and all this bullshit. People are kind of like getting a little bit carried away there, I think. But these robots and such, they're starting to appear very slowly, but I think we shouldn't tolerate that. I think if we see any of that going around the street, we should just take a sledgehammer to it and smash it up because it's simply an abomination, like Dr. Frankenstein's creatures walking around, and we don't need to see that. And we see these things depicted in movies sometimes, and no, we shouldn't tolerate it. But with that said, you know, you could send those things, whatever, out into space. They will break down, of course. They need servicing and blah blah blah. But they, you know, because you can't send man out, you can't send us out into space. It's impossible. Our lifespan at the end of the day is too short for the travel duration. It's too short. Food, water, and all that's going to run out, or water is all going to go stale. You're going to think, how are you going to preserve it and all this? You're going to freeze it and then warm it up so you can drink it, so you can hydrate yourself, or use it for, you got to think, how do this, do that, do blah 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 blah. There is a tremendous amount, like looking at a dictionary or looking through the A to Z, and then you go into the A, and then you go into so many other categories of levels, and then you go into B. There is an abundance that is staggering. It's impossible. We're here to stay on this planet at the end of the day, so that's, along with the rest of the life species on the planet that have been around a lot longer than we have been around for. How do I go from these topics and I go into another rant? Because my mind is thinking hyper. Call it artistic or whatever you want to call it. I'm just bothers me. Doesn't seem to bother anyone else. Doesn't bother politicians now, does it? They only care about making greedy money for themselves, so they can live a stinking, smelling, rich lifestyle in their crappy homes with their crappy car and whatever. Yeah. And then use platforms to go around and, like Nigel Farage. I don't know. I don't know if I should. Well, it probably wouldn't hurt, because it's inevitable that Keir Starmer, when the next general election comes up in, oh gosh, you've got to wait that many years. I don't want to talk about that guy, but he's out soon, because they could just keep voting that prick to stay in over and over and over until he kicks the bucket, and that cannot be tolerated. He's out, Keir Starmer. The sooner the better. He's god awful. He's atrocious. He's terrible. And Trump, he's a puppet show. The Muppet Show in the USA with his ballroom. Oh, dear, oh dear. I think the next president that comes along will probably think, oh, fuck it. I'm going to have it smashed down. Yeah. They could do that. They think, bloody hell. And then you got the outrage of people like, money spent, this, that, but, fucking hell, you got to have it all demolished down and then put grass and trees. They give oxygen, you know what I mean? A ballroom doesn't. It's just there for rich, snobby people to, vile disgustingness. No thanks. because it's not really for the people. Oh yeah, yeah, sure, it's for the people. It's only for the snobs, not for the poor common class of people. Yeah, is the White House going to do open day and tour of the ballroom with the tourists? It's just it's just a room, It's just a piece of what's it, Is it going to really have really cool, unique architecture? I think the British should just go back over to there and just burn the White House down to the ground again and do a better, thorough job of it this time. That White House has been, how many times has it been remodeled, reconstructed? 10 times? I'm surprised it doesn't fall down because of all the changes to it. Oh dear. Anyway, why am I talking about that crap? I don't care about that crap. I'd rather watch it in a movie, Independence Day, with the aliens blowing it to smithereens. Oh dear. That's a brilliant effect, that. You see it, boom. Yeah, occur. How many other movies where you see the White House? Oh yeah, White House down, White House fallen, or whatever, all those other boom, blown to smithereens. Uh, yeah, that White House down movie, that's terrible. That is a terrible movie. All the CGI in it. Oh, flipping heck. What's the other one? Because they did two movies, didn't they, that are similar. Olympus, that's it, Olympus. Olympus. Sounds like something like I want to go out and buy some seafood, and Olympus, Father of Olympus, Mount Father of Apollo. No, I don't know. I don't know what that fucking movie's about. It's a load of babble nonsense. It's just a load of gun sound effects going off, and they sound pretty crap in the mixing. When you listen to these movies and you hear these same typical, I've never heard that sound effect before. Why do they keep using it? You listen, you look at the end credits, you look at you look at the IMDb, you see if there's some type of connection, with like who created that sound effect, who did the recording on it. And so it's like they do all these, and they director or whatever listen to it, what do you like, and then, oh yeah, I like that one, don't like that one, doesn't fit the picture. And then maybe can we manipulate this one a little bit? Oh yeah, sure, we could do a little bit of that. But you always hear something that's similar, like a sound effect, because of the timing and the frequency sound it's making. And it's like, we ever heard that before? That sound effect. Sometimes I think, oh, was it created by John Popostle or Stephen Flick or one of the other sound editors? Most of these people now are retired. You don't see their names on the credits anymore like it was through the 1980s and 1990s, or just a little bit in the 2000s, but they're slowly fading and going away. But some of the techniques in the mixing in some movies, and is it really the director? I mean, are some directors do that? I don't give a shit about Hollywood, really. I don't give a fuck about it because it's all like pedophile shit, and we just can't trust it. And most people just don't tolerate pedophilia. Nonsense creeps that We just don't tolerate that sort of shit. And there are I wouldn't be surprised in the home cinema community. And yeah, there are pedophiles going around. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So yeah, I'm calling out that there are some people in home theatres, that, well, whatever, that could be pedophiles. It's disgusting. Yeah, it turns me off at the end of the day. I think, why do I buy this shit? Knowing full well that there is something seedy and salty going on in the Hollywood industry, or Pinewood, or the UK, or any other film industry around the world. And I'm thinking, it's disgusting in this day and age. It's demoralizing and degrading. I think I'll stick to some HO. Plenty of it. Yeah. Well, don't let science fiction get to me and thinking, oh dear, water runs out. Yeah. Then you got to look for another planet. Where's that planet? Well, you can forget about Mars. You're not going to get any work and rest and play on Mars. It's pointless. Yeah, and it's where else? Yeah. Because this just hydrates. But other drinks are just invented to give a different, it's analyzing the body, analyzing what we could endure, like taste. You know what I mean? But this at the end of the day has been the original. It's been around for flipping long time. Cavemen were drinking this a million years ago, long before wine, grapes. Oh yeah, look at this. Oh, what's this growing here? Oh yeah. Tastes like. Oh yeah, let's squash it down and make something. Oh, a drink out of it. Oh, what name should we give it? I don't know. How about wine? What the heck is wine? Okay, we'll go with that. Or oranges. You eat the thing. It's got juice. It's got naturals in it and such. Yeah, those things have been around a long time. How long has the orange been around for? Yeah, there's lots of things that have been growing, been around for a long time. They're the original. It's like we suck on our mum's tits or breasts. You got the perverts out there now watching, and you think, oh yeah. No, you're getting milk. That's a natural sort of thing, the same as because you get perverts, pedophiles, and shit. But do you get pedophiles that get horny and watch animals sucking on their mother's nipples for milk? I don't think so. It's just perverts around sometimes. It really does distress me. What social society I am mixed up in, and I gotta bite my tongue sometimes, and yeah, I'm past that. If I think or I can sense someone that's maybe a nonce on, I'm gonna notice something a bit shifty about them. I'm not going to mention one person, or actually there's a few that I think there might probably, maybe, because it's the rest of their activity things that they do, and they just look shifty. I don't know why I'm talking about this shit. I'm just talking about, what was it? What was the topic on this video about, for fuck's sake? um, manipulating or gimmickry Atmos. Yeah, some shit like that. I don't really give a fuck. I don't really give a fuck. It's like my cat Melanie. She was sucking on Bear's nipples. Bear's a male cat. Melanie's a female. And I had to keep telling her, Melanie, don't you know that Bear's a male? He can't produce milk. But there she goes. Because she is looking at Bear as a surrogate, or a surrogate. So, because she was still a kitten. She was only how many? Well, I got her in May. She was born in April. January, February, March. January, February, March, April. Yeah, she was born in April. She's only grown a little bit, but it's not like I video it every single day, or in a certain angle. So when I play the video as a like a time lapse, so I can see the scale of her size gradually, but it is so subtle. It is absolute subtleness in it. The nuances. You look at the nuances of the hairs on you. That there's like all these tiny little nuances. And when I do all that, I can feel the individuality moving around up there. I can feel the individuality, but can you feel it in an Atmos? I don't think so. Everyone assumes Atmos is spatial sound and all this buttload of bollocks. What the bloody hell is fucking spatial sound? Bullshit. I think it's just another way, it's just another word of an invention to bullshit. Otherwise, you see all these labs in these little universities or whatever, and you see all these speakers lined up, and yeah. It's still not enough. They might as well just do and perform the real thing, and then think, like I say, you got to record these sounds very carefully, and then you got to mix it into encoding and then decoding. You got to have a mix. You got to have an encode decoder that can encode an amount of channel, and then decode it for playback. Otherwise, this spatial sound, THX is spatial sound. Oh, for fuck's sake, fuck off, THX. They're not the real THX anymore like they once was. They gone through from creative computers to bloody Razor fucking computer game shit. They're like, the big THX letters have gone down to lowercase letters. They're not the once big, the Lucasfilm Limited THX sound system. It's like how it started out as, and the THX tap program, theatre alignment. You don't get that anymore. the tap doesn't exist anymore. That's not existed since early 2000s. I still look at the what they call the way back, and I can look at all the, or most, or some that are being listed, all the THX tap titles, and there's still a lot more that's not listed. That's why sometimes I look for a resource, go to the in 70mm site, and you can see there's a lot more other titles that went through for the this film, for the THX, for the TAP program, because the way these films were aligned for playback, for exhibition, versus a regular substandard Dolby stereo cinema, total night and day difference when you go to the THX ones. But then there was other competition, high performance stereo HPS 4000, which came a lot earlier than THX, whatever. It's just using those big, what do you call them? Clip speakers. And the owner, John Allen, and just designing the speakers into a different configuration so they give dispersion, specific dispersion pattern, so that you can hear or notice it. But he doesn't have the huge clout like George Lucas does. Well, billions of dollars, literally. I would think John Allen probably maybe $1 million, so, or whatever. There's you hear people also read comments, feedback on this HPS 4000 site with like seeing the same movie, one in THX, one in HPS 4000, and because it's like burgers and fries. It's like you got Mac and you got King, and it's like, which one's better? I don't particularly like both, but the King, even though you pay just a little more and you pay a little less, even though it's not too much, even though you pay less for a Mac, even though the prices have kind of gone up and the quality is kind of I like the taste of those flame grills, but are they really flame grilled? I'd have to go into a Burger King and just see if they actually got it on a wasset with flames coming up under the grill, because they say it's a flame grill. Because I'm assuming a flames coming up, the burger goes on and it's flame grilling, or is it just some marketing bullshit? I don't know. Because if I smell it, does it smell like it's been flame grilled? Or does it smell like it's just come out of the bloody freezer and they just stick it in a bloody microwave and warm it up? Yeah, I just prefer the Burger King. The French fries seem a little bit better, whereas the French fries on the Mac, the Macs seem, I don't know. The chips I like nice in Ches Red. I do like the chips. And then Harry Ramsden's Ramadan, whatever. Terrible. The chips taste like they've been come from a bloody roadkill out on the Bournemouth promenade, bloody scraped up, and bloody heated up in the microwave. Oh dear, no wonder the seagulls go through them. Yeah, they're soggy. Oh my goodness. Sorry, the sorry looking chip I've ever seen. And oh my goodness, the haddock. Oh dear, I don't know what the heck that was, like a roadkill. That was awful. Never again will I get a Harry Ramsden. I've only had a Harry Ramsden thing probably less than 10 times, I would have to say, over the years. Less than 10 times. And that's over years. That's not like I go down there or I can get a delivery. I can get them delivered, yeah. And they're only about an extra mile distant away from Chesfred, but Chesfred won't deliver out to where I am because I'm out of the radius of, for delivery by about a mile. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind ordering Chesfred, because it's an hour on the bus to get there. Buses are slow, but hey, don't complain just because the bus is slow. You want to go on a taxi? A taxi will be going down these bullshit roads just so they can run the fucking meter up. Fucking taxis can fuck off. The only time I would use a taxi is in an extreme, very extreme, dire situation. Otherwise, taxis, fuck off. No way. I went in a taxi around this town all day. Yeah, probably do it. The taxi driver might do it, or he might say, all right, you've gone around, I don't know what you're doing, but you've gone around, you blah, 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 get the fuck out of the taxi. Oh, I'm paying for it. No, I don't think they will. They'll just drive around. But then you could get out of the taxi at the end of it and refuse to pay. Because you could have a regular car, drive it around all fucking day. And you know how much you spent on the petrol, right? I know how much they spend on the buses and all that. I could stay on that fucking bus all day. Get on it at 6 o'clock in the morning till about maybe 12 or just about 1 o'clock in the AM. And that bus has gone around, and you calculate how many miles that bus has gone around for an all-day ticket, £5. Yeah, if it was in a taxi going around from point A down to from this place down to Poole, it'll probably cost about £40. Fucking hell. That's like going on a fucking all day bus ticket for about 2, 3, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's like going on an all day bus ticket for 4 fucking days. Fucking rip-offs they are, taxis. They are rip-off. Yeah. It's like these UHD discs, Atmos Atmos things. They're rip-offs, most of them. They are rip-off.
Oh, yeah. Come, Mel. Come, go. Come. Oh. Whoa, 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 Melanie, what are you doing? Wow, I'm hungry. I'll do a fish and chips. Just finish off my meal. I'll give you a little snack. Eh? Hey. Oh. See, you've been reorganising in there, Bear. What have you been up to? What have you been up to, eh? What have you been up to? Reorganising things in there, Bear. You're your co-conspirator, Melanie. Partner in crime. Talk of the devil. Here she is. I'll give you some biscuit. So I'm going to have a meal, a little snack. Oh, I'm knocking things over, aren't you? Yay! Oh, it's raining. Oh, it's raining outside, yeah. It's raining. What are you up to, Mel? What are you up to? Come on. I'm gonna have a snack. Come on. There. Melanie. There you go. There's biscuits there. So I've just got a little bit in there. I'll just warm it up. About a minute. Come back. No, nothing to see there, Bear. Come on, I'm going to have my snack. You just had your biscuit. think that's enough. That's enough. Let's heat it up. Oh, I'll put a bit of ketchup on it. Wow. Yeah, it's like having a delivery. Yeah, I could have gone and had a fish and chips in there, and then had another one that for takeaway to bring back and put in the fridge and heat it up. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Come on, no. I don't need. Come on. Melanie, come on. Thank you. Go there. Well, come on, I'm sneaking up to have my fish and chips. Share spread. Little doggy bag. I couldn't fish and chips yesterday. This is my 3 o'clock morning meal. Co-conspirator Melanie walking around. Okay. Oh, fish and chips alone. Melanie. Get a special guest appearance. Steven Seagal. Steven, you motherfucker. Yeah, this is like astronaut meal. Without the astronaut. There is no spoon here. Wow, they can accommodate. Now, anyway, I've got to do some cleaning up in the kitchen, girl. I've got to do some cleaning up. Oh, yeah, it's my first Ches Fred doggy bag. Bring it home because I was stuffed last night. And this video is sponsored by none other but Steven Seagal, you motherfucker. You can actually get Steven Seagal with the head of Steven Seagal on the seagull. You know what I mean? Steven Seagal, you motherfucker. It's a joke. You got to watch the Laser Order 66 and you get the joke. Oh, dear. Come on, Stephen, you motherfucker. Melanie, leave that alone. Leave that alone, girl. Come on. Explanation. Pineapple juice. This video is sponsored by pineapple juice for mental depression. Well, that's what they say. They say pineapple juice helps with depression. They say orange juice helps with tinnitus. Only as a remedy, not a cure. Like the Cure. Oh, what the fuck am I pulling the fuck down behind me? What the fuck? Fucking hell. If I'm not fucking pulling them down, Bear's knocking the fire extinguishers over all the time, for fuck's sake. Those things are going to explode. Oh. Oh yeah, fish and chips at 3 o'clock in the morning. It is doable. Yeah, not too bad at the moment. Walking around, not too bad. I think it could be some side effect issue with the medication, because the medication I take during the day, the morning, which will be coming up, only in so many hours ahead now, so many hours ahead, where I take 10 types of medication. One or few of those medications is causing me, I think, a side effect, which probably lasts so many hours. And then I take the afternoon medication, which is one during the afternoon, and then I take 5 more types of medication during the evening. That's 16 types of medication a day. Now, is that a little bit over the top? I mean, okay, I need to keep the blood level, need to keep the heart rate, the fibrillation, but I mean,
when was the last time I had a 12 trace, 12 trace reading? Oh gosh, I think it was last year. Well, no. Was it very early this year? I forget. I'm doing. I forget. God, because December coming up, because it's November now. Sometime during the middle of December is where I would be the second year I've had this fibrillation, and I'm sick and tired of it. It's people, I tell you, it's like having a fucking toothache that lasts 2 years and you don't deal with it. You don't do anything about it. You just wallowing and in pain doing it, and it radiates, it circulates the pain. That's what it does. It kind of goes there and it radiates. And, and you do all sorts of things to numb it, to cure it. Remedy sort of, not cure it, remedies to mask the effect rather than just have the tooth extracted and then solved. And then eventually you probably end up with dentures. There's a few advantages and disadvantages with dentures. I had dentures, and I lost most of all my teeth when I had my mini heart attack, and I was on medication. The medication they were giving me, and it deteriorated my gums. It just deteriorated them literally overnight within a few weeks. I could fucking sue the hospital for that because they fucking put me on something that I was not aware of, and oh dear. And there's all these things on YouTube that I see, these advertisements where you buy these dentures, you put them in warm water and you put them in your, and they set and all that. But I don't know how aligned the alignment on it. How do they feel kind of okay, sort of thing? Because I had dentures one time, top and bottom. And they were aligned, comfortable in some way. But when one of them got broken, then I had to have another denture aligned, made for them, top and bottom. They just didn't feel right. The alignment was out by so many millimeter. They just didn't feel right, and I couldn't communicate because these dentist people that come into the UK, yes, into the UK. They're from a foreign country and they don't speak the Queen's English. For crying out loud, you can't communicate. They might have gone into a college or whatever, learnt bloody English, but they can't speak it. They can probably read or type it, but they can't speak it. And it was just, oh dear. The rest of the staff, were British, but the dentist one, it was banging my head against the wall. It was like talking to a brick wall, and I couldn't communicate my stress. And I got so fucking frustrated, pissed off. I thought, fuck them. And now they got these other things they say, but I'm a bit skeptical about that because if it's got to align correctly, and my recall will be telling me, oh, it feels like my other dentures that I had, not these other ones that I got, and I don't even use them because I feel like a bloody horse. It just don't feel right. They just feel like it's it's not right because the way the gum and the tooth is fitted, you got to get those tiny fraction millimeter, like because you get my tooth. I had kind of like vampire teeth, like at the front, used to, Most people have got different type of but you get these dentures and they don't look anything like your original ones. Get the picture? Yeah. Because if I try to explain that dentist, they would be completely clueless. I don't think there's a computer program out there that could say, "Oh yeah, this is how your teeth originally look." Yeah, right, sure. You give them, you put words into their mouth, and they'll probably give you bullshit. Yeah, so it's a bit of hit and miss there. It's artificial and kind of like Dolby Atmos. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. That fish and chips was nice. 3 o'clock in the morning. Who has fish and chips at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, tiny. Waste not, want not. I just couldn't finish it hours ago. I couldn't finish it. It was either forcing it into me and then probably going, throwing it up. I don't want to do that in a public restaurant. Not that I mind, because it could be worse. I could pass out, have a blackout, and collapse to the flipping floor. Hit someone's table, food goes flying, and I'm laying on the bloody floor with wearing a fucking table on my fucking head. Oh, but I feel okay walking. See, I should do more of these daily video logs or such of my health condition, rather than catering for fucking people like you out there that can't be fucking asked to design your home theater atmos, whatever you want to fucking call it, and have it unique, supremely different from all the rest, including the dubbing stages, because they're not going to change. They're just going to carry on doing the same crap and producing rubbish. So that, I hope it's in Atmos, someone says on Blu-ray.com. Oh, I'm not buying it if it is not in Dolby Atmos. They haven't got a clue on how mixing is done. They haven't got a clue. They haven't got the foggiest. There's just a bunch of kiddies on Blu-ray.com. Little 20-year-old kiddies all running around on Blu-ray.com. I don't think there's any adults on that site, just kiddies. Waste of fucking time talking to that fucking crowd on that site. Really is. Yeah, I should be concentrating more on, because I'm puzzled. I really do think it is down to some of the medication that's been in my bloodstream now for almost 2 years. Well, no, be 2 years around January next year, because that's when I went into hospital. I didn't notice the issue until December, and thinking, what's going on? Why am I suddenly walking like this again? And I'm feeling stress in my legs. What is going on? I was completely. I'm not feeling chest pains or anything like that. I feel a little lightheaded or such. I'm not feeling chest pains. I'm not having a heart attack. I'm completely clueless and stumped. And all I get is MD saying, your heart's going at a fast rate. It's missing a beat or so. We call it a fibrillation. Right. Your heart should be, your heart motion should be doing this. But it's going like this. And it should be doing this motion. So it's going in a different rhythm. And I've got to be on this medication to keep that my pulse rate low. My pulse rate, even on this bloody thing, it doesn't work very accurately. This thing, sometimes I put my finger on it and wait till I get a reading, oxygen level and pulse rate. I'm still waiting for it to give me a signal. Probably if I use my ECG monitor, it'd be a little bit quicker. But I just don't like listening to the tone on the ECG monitor where it's going. It's going like that. It shouldn't. A normal tone on an ECG monitor will be going triangle, sort of like, so if anyone knows electronics or oscilloscopes, because basically an ECG is like a medical monitor, like a modified oscilloscope, sort of, so to speak, in some way, but it's designed for medical use. And if it's going like boop, 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 it's going faster, but it's still a triangle going up, down, up, down, up, down. But when it's going up and then wiggling and all that, that's what I call erratic. And there's something fishy going on. And then you should consult a doctor ASAP, because it can only get worse. What the issue that I was getting years before heart fibrillation, the tummy issue, which I've not had now. I've not had that issue, even though it might still be there, because if I press down here in this area, I could feel something that just doesn't seem right. Something's out of place. Something that's occurred probably, I think, maybe 25 years ago. I had this little accident, and I think it's caught up. And internal damage or something of a sort. Because this issue was just kind of like durations, like earthquakes. And you get this issue like, oh gosh, tummy, earthquake, ground breaks apart, shifting, moving, plates moving around, confliction of damage, unimaginable. And I just get these like, oh, what the heck is that? It's not like a regular. Melanie, get off the bed. Come on. Come on. It's not like a regular, tummy ache issue that most of us, we get occasionally, rare. It's not one of those. It's something different. I've had nurses tell me it sounds like you're describing. It's what it's called. Oh gosh, I forgot what it's called now. Hermia. And I was thinking, what the heck is that? And the nurse explained to me she had a procedure and she was feeling okay afterwards. But I never had a proper camera going down to do an actual examination. I've only had an ultra scan, and then it kind of shows, it looks okay. That's weird. I get back home, bam, it hits me again. I lose blood pressure in my legs. I can't stand up, and I'm crawling along the floor to get to the bed to lay down. And then I check myself on my ECG monitor, and I'm going, it's going like that. And that's going back. I've got videos. I've got plenty of fucking videos, 10, 20 videos of this showing, going back so many years. Because I brought the ECG monitor when I was noticing something strange, and I just got it just so I can stay cautious, so I can just be a little cautious of what's going on, rather than raising alarm all the time and calling paramedics and then ending up down the bloody hospital all the time. And then worrying about my cats because my cats are on their own. I don't need that stress. No one needs that stress. And I keep telling them, I told the doctor, I tell the MDs at down the hospital, this issue is starting down here in my tummy and it works its way upward. And then I get this issue. And it's just waiting it out until it fades out. And then my ECG monitor goes back to normal. And you know what? I can swing my legs around and I can stand up. Totally puzzled. I'm totally in the dark. And I think what this issue has been ongoing for years and not being treated has probably created the fibrillation, and now it's just permanent. I don't think, they say, okay, we could try electric sort of thing by stopping the heart and then restarting it. That made my skin crawl. I mean, because I knew that I could probably die. I'm not going to know about it because it's like when you go to a dentist, they give you an anesthetic, to numb you or put you, because it's going to be pretty like ouch, and you're going to be moving around. You start doing that, you can make matters worse. Yeah, it just made my skin crawl. And it's like, it's until something comes along. I mean, how could I do something that could put my heart rhythm back into a normal rhythm? When was the last time I had I've had a CAT scan. I forgot what they call it now. EMI, or something. I forgot what they call it. Basically, it's a scan, and you just scan the whole thing, the whole body, like, and to see whether everything's, all the parameters are in correct normal functionalities, such. I hadn't had one of those. I hadn't had a second one of those for over a year. It'll probably be same story because I only have to put myself on the ECG monitor, and if I don't have to look at the display. I only have to listen to the tone of the sound. And if I heard that magic sound going boop, 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 I'd have a nice sigh of relief. But I'll be monitoring it just to make sure it doesn't slip back into that back into that sort of rhythm again. I'm very logical when it comes to things sometimes, and and it's only what you know. It's only what you know. I can't expect to know everything. I'm not God. I don't read the Bible and all that. I'm skeptical whether it's an alien or whether it's it'd be one thing that we would never be allowed to know about. Because if we knew that information, oh dear, I don't think it'd be. I think it all no. I think it's something that's left to be an enigma. I mean, Jesus, was he an illusionist? Was he really someone that was, well, we think of it, people go on and talk about aliens and abduction and that. Maybe Mary was abducted, impregnated by aliens, and that's plausible, but it's hard to prove it. But it's plausible. And for what reason and why? Maybe the aliens could see the way things were going on this planet with social society and felt upset. And maybe they thought they'd try something. But then Jesus was feared. And they just, like everyone else, they just nailed him up on a crucifix and very brutally, with everyone else that was part there, brutally crucified. We're the only species on this planet that's got language. Language has only been around for so many going back so far, tens of not tens of thousands, probably 500,000 years or so, or such, until language was developed. Once that was developed, everything changed. The way we think, the way we talk, the way we verbalize things, the way people may be offended or disgusted with what you just said. But take it with a pinch of salt, because I say things. I'd probably maybe mean it a little bit and maybe don't mean it. Because what I'm surrounded in social society, it confuses me. With all the minutiae and bullshit and deceiving and how we can lie. Oh, yeah, a cat. Oh, yeah, I could come back and see, like, oh, my goodness gracious, which one of my two cats have done this? I'm going to get a blank look. They're not going to admit to it. You get pigs, squeal like a pig, You get pigs that do despicable things, and they're law enforcement. And they do sick crimes of pedophilia and shit. Oh dear. You got a fucking sick social society out there. I mean, yeah. I'm just looking at the computer screen here at the moment, just seeing how my eyes are focusing. Not too bad. Well, not brilliant. A little bit blurred. Otherwise, I can see color and all that, but not imaging. That's sharply focused. I think it's something to do with. I think it's something to do with the oxygen or the what's it behind the eyes. I think it's got something to do with that. It's like when paramedics, they come up to you and they ask you, how many fingers am I holding up? And all this, they want to, because they look and assess the injury and they think, has he got any head injury or such? He's seen double visions or such. That's very easy. I can manipulate my vision in some ways where I can see two images. I'm just kind of shifting the image from like from something like, if I do an example, something like that, and I can shift it so it goes like that. So I see like two fingers. I can't do it at the moment. It's tricky. I used to do it a lot, and my dad was getting worried of me when I was young, saying, "It's 2 o'clock." And he's saying, "What? What is my son smoking?" And I'm doing something. I see two clocks. Because the way manipulating my vision and making it shift. Oh, maybe I did too much in that, and it's resulted in, no. I played a stupid game and I won a stupid prize years ago. I played this stupid game on the internet. But yeah, I think it's something to do with oxygen levels and sugar level or water levels or whatever. Because when I was diagnosed as diabetes type 2, they were sticking insulin into me, and my vision became extremely blurred within less than 1 week. And it was going on into the second week. We're still having the insulin, and I was doing the research, and I discovered that the insulin can create a pretty thumbs down trade-off with blurring your vision. And I thought, I can't let this go on, because this can only get worse. I'm still on a tablet for my insulin. For my diabetes, and I'm not sure if that's given me a mild side effect, because before that, before the heart fibrillation issue and that, I was noticing I don't need my glasses, and I could focus suddenly clearly on the computer. I could read all the small print in the taskbar right up here, and I could read all that quite clearly. And I was thinking, that's been blurred for many years, but I was on a different medication for something else that I was still taking. I can't remember it. My mind is so like tomato puree. And I was just pinning it onto some medication that I was taking that was revitalizing my clarity on my vision. And I was bragging about it, and but yeah, once they stuck me on that bloody insulin, fucking hell, everything went downhill again. Where's my Wossets? Because I ordered a Wosset for my blood sugar levels. When I take my sugar levels, the little things I plug into the monitor. I think they arrive tomorrow or maybe the day after. Yeah. I'm having sleeping issues. Insomnia. I'm having sleeping issues. I got so much on my mind. But when you get into a sleep mode and you can and then you get into a sleep mode, you need really 8 hours to regenerate. It's like charging a phone up. A phone just won't instantly charge. You can't instantly charge your body up, otherwise things are not going to be right. You got to slowly, I think it's the internet, and I'm speaking my mind. I need to rant a video again, like I need to breathe. Which is very true. Politicians don't do this. You know why? They haven't got the balls. We know most or some could be creepy nonce pedophiles and shit, but they haven't got the fucking balls to do videos like me. Or I'm the only, I don't know. There's probably a few other people on live video on YouTube at the moment. But can they beat my record? I mean, I don't really want to beat a record, but the longest live video I've done, I think, is about just 24 hours. My friend, he's watching me sometimes. He's asleep at the moment. He's probably asleep unless he decides to phone me. And he's just asking, how do you, I don't know how you do it. I can't do that. And I ask him, do you ever talk to yourself? And he says, no, I don't do any of that. I think it in my head. I don't think my dad talked to himself. Did my mum talk to herself? I don't know. I never asked her. It's a biological condition. Accept it. Otherwise, when we go to sleep, the internet, the computer systems that are running everything and all this, they're always talking and communicating. They're sending data and communicating. So they're talking to themselves in electronic world. Yeah, I ask other people, do they talk to them? And they say no. Am I talking to myself? Maybe, probably, absolutely, undeniably, yes. Because we are flawed. We're not perfect. See, I'm bound by gravity, and that's it. I'm here. I can't just wander and float and go up into outer space without an environmental suit and then travel the universe at the speed of light. Where am I going to go? What direction do I go? There's so many options. The Earth is a sphere. Yes, it is circular. It is round. And it's like from the positions with all the degrees, and it's like, which direction do I head out in? I could ask the audience, or I can go 50-50. Yeah. Yeah. This video is sponsored by HO2 water, the originality of hydration. Stay hydrated. Otherwise you feel lousy. Actually, it does the electrical bio things in your body, doesn't it? The stimulations. So they say with science. Yeah. Maybe I should put water up my nose. Got those water things, maybe yeah. My sinuses, all that, the mucus, it still dries up every flipping neck. It's drying up now, I can feel it. Bloody depressing. Yeah. So you really want to improve your home theatre. There are very few simple ways to do it. But most people follow this stupid, there are very few people like myself. Very few against everyone else that's doing it the same way, and whatever, it's boring, it's nothing original there. And I like that sound on the Star Trek II, the Wrath of Khan, on the opening. This the bridge simulator, and it's got this deep bass reverberation in the surround channel. But if you do it right by doing bass shakers in the floor, yeah, okay, so bass people don't understand the concept and all that. Why put bass shakers in the floor? Because it's going to make the floor vibrate. You're going to feel the vibration. So when you're sat in the seat, the vibration's going partly into the seat. Plus, when you get out of the seat and you're standing on the floor, you're still feeling the vibration and you're hearing it acoustically and feeling the vibration. And you know what? It seems like 50% you're feeling it, 50% you're hearing it equals 100. It seems more real until it gets to certain, things in the mix in the movie and what I'm looking at, and then thinking, you know, they haven't put enough energy in that part of but oh yeah, when that bridge is exploding with Calm taking pot shots at the Enterprise and flipping bass exploding, reverberation, the flipping, it feels like an earthquake. I have got no bass issues in my THX cinema. I wouldn't hear of it. I wouldn't hear of it. But yeah, everyone else has got this Trinov, that. Each to their own. AVR this, AVR that. I got an Anthem and oh, blimmin' heck. And everyone's got their bass management switched on. My eyes are just rolling. Oh dear. You got to explore and understand what that bass management is actually doing. Some AVRs don't have the ability to adjust the audio levels that's going into the sub bass speaker, because you're putting bass channel sound on top of the subwoofer's LFE signal. Thus, you create a masking effect, and you wouldn't even know or be able to tell when there is actual LFE signal content playing. And it's the same when you got the system, all the bass levels playing. Well, to do it critically accurate to a degree, that is, that takes quite a bit. Takes a bit of patience, and no, it's not just a few hours of run Room EQ Wizard, run Active Room Treatment, or any of this Dirac Live or this Genesis. They're just equalizers at the end of the day. That's all they are. Every other manufacturer is trying to create another equalizer, give it a different name to sell it to the public, and the public trying to believe in, it's going to solve my problems. And then some say, I'm not getting enough bass. Yes, because it's, oh dear, how do I fucking explain this issue? God, look at the way a cinema is designed. Look at all the classic auditoriums and the way those auditoriums are designed. You look at a typical home and how that's designed. You wonder why it booms at the front. Not that most people stand at the front of the room and listen to the sound. It booms. Then you will go to the middle of the room. Then it's less boomy on certain frequencies, on the lows. Then you go to the back of the room and it's starting to boom again. What's going on there? Where you get these dips and nulls and such. You look at how an auditorium is designed, the front row, and you got the screen up here. The front row is so many meters away from the front of those speakers. the ceiling from floor to ceiling is high, very tall. It goes backwards, it slopes upward until it gets to the back where the seat from the floor to the ceiling is narrow. There's less boom sound you hear. That's the trick. That's the trick. You can't equalize it in the home. You subtract the frequency that you think is booming. You're just going to decrease the sound in the front. And then the middle part, you're just going to decrease it down even lower. The back, you just knock it down a little bit, but you don't solve it. You got to design the room literally from ground up. But our homes are not big enough, really, enough to do that. They're not big enough. Otherwise, you make the seating platform at the back of the room as thick as you can possibly make it. So, you know, but you got to monitor that room. You got to do systematic RTA frequency sweeps. You got to put the speakers in the room. Nothing else is in the room, just the speakers. Then do a systematic frequency sweep right round that room entirely. Map it out. I don't care how many frequency sweeps, 100, 200. Map it out. And then once you put all the construction in, and then you just place, and then the microphones, let's just get this right. The microphones should be in the same positions, mostly could be placed near the side walls, the ceiling, the floor, or you make little positions where you can put those microphones more or less back in the same XYZ three-dimensional position. Mostly it doesn't really matter for low frequencies too much. High frequencies, yes, it does. When you move that microphone just a tiny little fraction, those high frequency things, they can alter quite a little bit. But you got to design and check the system. But anyway, the bass, you know, trying to control it so you don't get that boom. Otherwise, some of these crappy home theaters putting a gigantic fat ass 60-inch Ascendo sub in their home theater basement ain't gonna solve it. I could see that one guy with his home theater, and I think is the room and his dimensions are more or less the same as my room. More or less. And think you just got a 60-inch sub, you know, you got to think of the cone size, okay, and it's just pushing air. But is it really pushing air? Does it create so your hair blows around? Yeah. Does it do it naturally like nature? Because at the end of the day, for which nature cannot be fooled. What was that? That's from what's the name of that guy? Harold or Fluxenheimer? Oh gosh, he's the guy that solved the problem with the O-rings, but why the space shuttle exploded. Because of the compression of the when you put these things into frozen ice water, and when you take them out, they don't, you know, the O-rings were okay on that shuttle. They probably modified them slightly, or the materials or such, but they were okay. They just were not okay to be used under those cold conditions, which caused the fate of the shuttle. Yeah, was he astro? No, not astro. Physicist or something. I think nuclear physicist. Yeah, the cone. You know, it's large. It's heavy. It's got weight to it. So you got a motor structure on it. What, 8-inch? An 8-inch or whatever it is, the voice card. I don't really care. a bloody humongous thing like that just to produce infrasonic low sine wave frequency. I think you got to analyze reality a little bit more and how things work. Anyway, I think I've got a problem here, Houston. Yeah, I've got a problem here, Houston. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what's going on. Yeah, I've got a problem. Anyway, I'm going off now. I've got to solve a problem, Houston. Okay. Over and out and done.